All right, welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E here, in person. This is our first in-person SYP podcast.
SYP podcast, yeah.
Sorry, Matthew Mosquito, because we promised Matthew he'd be the first in-person. He'll be our first in-person guest.
Guest, I like that.
Matthew will be our first in-person guest. SYP creator Scott is with us. Scott, what's up,
King? Oh, living the dream. We're on a boat right now. We're on our way to Vancouver Island to do our SYP Vancouver Island Takeover.
We're on a boat!
We're on a boat. We're living the dream. We're in person. BC Ferries is only recommending masks right now, which is exciting.
I'm still wearing my mask, though, because I haven't been vaccinated.
Ian's safe, and we're all doing safe, and we should all be more like Ian.
I said before we started, I think this is not this current version of the podcast, but I feel like I've done a podcast before on BC Ferries. Right. Back in like high school or something. But I think I was doing the Horseshoe Bay to Nanaimo run.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a beautiful run, by the way.
It's a good track.
Yeah. So thoughts on BC Ferries and the takeover so far?
So far, so good. Yeah. Early morning, getting to the boat. No issues with traffic. It's I will say I'm surprised that the arcade's open. We haven't gone to play, but I'm surprised it's open.
We will.
You think so?
Yeah, we'll go play. The problem is that Rock Band isn't working. Like this
I know, dude. That's the best one.
And instead it's like Arctic Thunder, which is like the snowmobile
That's
game.
Snowmobile game,
Not the same.
Yeah.
So pretty much we're doing this Friday morning. It's July 16th. Should we start with you want to start with hockey or?
Let's start with hockey.
All right, let's start with hockey. First, we should talk about Matisse Kivlenieks, who passed away about, I think, 10 days ago now.
Yeah, it was over a week ago.
Over a week ago, passed away in a fireworks accident.
Yeah.
In Manny Legacy's house, who's the goaltending coach for the Blue Jackets. I can't remember if it was in Ohio or Michigan where the incident took place,
right.
But passed away about 10 days ago. They had a service for him yesterday, Thursday, I believe, when they had it. Thoughts on Matisse Kivlenieks and the whole incident? It's a really tragic event.
Very sad, very unfortunate. A guy, he was a younger guy, and he had played for Latvia in the World Championships, I think, this previous year.
Yeah.
He had a really good future, and I know he was good buddies with Columbus goalie Elvis Merzlikins, and I saw Elvis had talked about, I think it might have been during the memorial service, he talked about how Kivlenieks, he basically saved Elvis Merzlikins' life, Elvis's wife, and his kid during this event and the accident that happened. But yeah, either way, it's just a horrible situation. Brutal.
It was very weird for myself because I wrote on like the Friday before the incident for Kraken Chronicle, talking about the Kraken and expansion draft options. Mm-hmm. I talked about Matisse Kivlenieks as an option for Seattle.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, just the incident happened, and it was just like one in a million, like
total freak
accident. Terrible thing that happened. Just brutal all around. So RIP to Matisse Kivlenieks. I'm sure the Blue Jackets, I think, are going to do a lot. I don't know if they'll retire his number. They might retire his number, but I'm sure they're going to do a lot when they get back into regular season next year.
They'll have some sort of something for him.
Ceremony.
I hope so. Yeah, it's as he should. He was, a bright up-and-coming goaltender for the organization. He had a bright future, but unfortunately, he's just not around.
He got 2 wins last season. His first career, I believe, at Madison Square Garden, and then beat the Red Wings in the final game of the regular season as well. So, just terrible situation. Wish nothing but the best for his family and anybody impacted by the incident. Just terrible thing. Terrible way
for sure.
For somebody's life to end. But again, wishing all the best to his family and anybody involved in the incident. We're going to talk about some other hockey events to start this morning. Should we start? Is the Duncan Keith thing the big thing that we have to talk about?
Well, I think the last time we did a pod, it was before Tampa Bay won the Cup. So I think we should talk.
We should talk about Tampa winning the Cup.
Tampa winning the Cup.
All right. What are your immediate thoughts?
Tampa wins in 5. Honestly, not a huge surprise. Montreal had a great run, and albeit terrific, but Tampa Bay, they're just such a good team, and Vasilevsky basically won them half of their games, and
Okay.
he deservingly won the Conn Smythe. I'm going to talk about that on the Left Side Heavy podcast a couple days ago, or I guess last week now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. You know, good for Tampa Bay. They're back to back, first time since the Penguins, and only the third time in the last 25 years, I think, that a team's gone back to back. So
Since the salary cap era.
the salary cap era only twice, yeah. So it's again good for them. The cap situation's weird, but they technically stayed within the rules, so good on them.
My just immediate thoughts are with Vasilevsky being the Conn Smythe winner, because I think he should be.
Yeah.
There's a very good argument to be made for Kucherov getting it as well, but I think Vasi probably deserves it more. Is Tampa Bay the greatest team like in the salary cap era? So basically, because of the two teams who have won multiple two other teams who won multiple cups, you have the Blackhawks, who deserve consideration. Penguins, Lightning, maybe the Kings.
Maybe the Kings, yeah. I would say
I think this Tampa team is better than the Chicago teams.
Oh, that's wow. I think. Well,
I'm hitting you with the hot takes early.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. Is Chicago, yes, they didn't win any back-to-back, but they rebuilt their team 3 times and won 3 cups with 3 different-ish teams.
Mm-hmm.
Same core. Tampa Bay basically kept their whole core intact from last year, which speaks to Julian Breezeball's ability to keep the team intact and John Cooper's ability to, yes, you have the same players, but teams are going to adjust for your system in 1 year, and the fact is that the next year they're able to do it again, and with John Cooper at the helm, which is really cool.
And Steve Yzerman should get credit for building a team.
And that's the thing, is that Yzerman was with the Lightning until 2016, 15.
2017.
Maybe it might have been 17. But again, you look at a lot of Tampa Bay. A lot of Tampa Bay's homegrown. You look starting with Kucherov,
Vasi,
Point, Hedman,
Cirelli,
Palat, Killorn.
Not quite Sergachev, but
Sergachev-ish, but
yeah.
But yeah, point being is that Tampa Bay is so well built, and yes, they are $18 million over the cap.
We've talked about this before. It's legal. It's fine. They didn't do anything wrong. If you have a problem with anybody, blame the league, not the Bolts.
Not the Bolts.
Odds on favorite to win next year? Tampa Bay?
Colorado.
We'll talk about them later on with Landeskog, because apparently he might be out the door. But I think I have to take a look at odds and see what odds are.
I think Colorado's plus 600.
Well, I'll do a quick look, but I would probably put money on Tampa Bay three-peating.
If they keep their team intact, I see it too.
So, because they're going to lose. Yanni Gourde looks like somebody who might be out the door.
Might be McDonough too.
Might be Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, one of those 3 I think are gone.
1 or 2 of those 3 might be gone.
Unless Tampa swings the deal and they.
There were some rumors. Sorry to interrupt you. There was rumors about Stammer being out the door possibly as well.
Well, they might expose him, but Seattle won't take his contract.
Yeah, that's.
I think a lot of teams are going to do that. They're going to kind of expose older-ish players. And Stamkos isn't old by any means, but
older-ish. The Matt Duchene's and Ryan Johansson's of the world are getting exposed.
I think Johnson's going to be Kraken's first-line center.
No, he won't.
No, you think so?
No, he won't. So we talked about Tampa Bay briefly. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens, who, frankly, had the miracle run. They got really farther than anybody ever thought they would get. Yeah. They did take a game from the Lightning.
Yeah, they did.
Game 4
They should have taken 2. They should have won game 2.
They probably should have won game 2. If you're Montreal, what do you do now? Do you just run it back next season? You have to sign Danault. Danault's a free agent.
Yeah, you gotta sign him.
Kotkaniemi is a restricted free agent.
Oh.
Tatar is a free agent, but I think he's out the door.
I think Tatar's gone, yeah.
So, if you're Montreal, do you, for the most part, run it back? And if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Just keep going? Or what do you do if you're the Habs?
It really depends on the Shea Weber situation. That's come up pretty recently. And again, think about the performances from Kulak and from Romanov. Those are your third-pairing defensemen. They played great, and Romanov's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Is he going to replace Shea Weber? You can't really replace Shea Weber.
I don't think anybody can replace Shea Weber on that team.
Kind of my point. Petrie might be the closest, but again, you need to have another guy.
I was gonna say there's not even
Can talk
100%
about.
confirmation that Petrie is gonna be 100% healthy next
That's
year
what I think
either.
too. Yeah. That's the scary part about that. And I think Montreal's forward group's really good. And again, all this experience for guys like Suzuki, Caulfield, Kotkaniemi, even Danault, who hasn't been on big playoff runs ever, really. That's huge experience for those guys, and that's gonna help a lot in the coming years. They have, they're like, okay, we've been there, let's go back there. We know how to do it. Let's go do it again. And maybe they'll bring in maybe they'll sign Bergeron. He's pretty aggressive as a GM. Maybe
He's actually one of the this. We were having this conversation, or at least I think you and I were, or maybe my dad and I, about which GM you would want to deal with the most and the least. And Bergeron's he's not up there with the Yzermans and the Sackets of GMs you would want to deal with the least.
Right.
But he's in the tier below or 2 tiers below of a dude who could actually fleece you if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true actually. But again, he's smart. He's smart about any. I think he does a lot of his scouting himself, and that's really important too. He knows the game and he knows his players well, which is huge.
I want to hear your thoughts on this, but I think the player I came away with most impressed with after the postseason is Nick Suzuki, because even in the finals, that dude took a lot of shit from the Tampa Bay Lightning throughout the entire finals of just unnecessary checks, unnecessary body contact, stick contact, whatever. That dude went through hell and back almost.
Almost, yeah.
Is there anybody else on Montreal who really impressed you, or you're like, I can't wait to watch this player next season?
Well, I'd not to say the obvious.
It's Caulfield.
Caulfield, yeah. But I think to your point about Suzuki, I've always been a big fan of him. We watched him at juniors in 2019 in Vancouver. He was on the team. He was second line center. Played with Anderson Dolan, and I think Lafreniere was on that line as well. But now Suzuki's he's going to be a great talent. He's never been heralded as a top guy, but man, is he going to be good. He's so good with the puck, and he's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. Doesn't have the best shot, doesn't have the best hands, but he reads the game so well. And on a Montreal team with a guy like Caulfield, with a big guy like Anderson, think about that line: Caulfield, Anderson, and Suzuki. That's deadly. That's hard to stop.
Kotkaniemi is a guy I'm surprised that they scratched in the last few games, because I've been impressed with his year. He's had I think a fairly good year. He had a slow start, but for the most part, he got better. He improved. He's somebody that Montreal should be building around. I guess the question is, do we think the Habs are real? And do we think that they're going to be making A, playoff runs, B, cup runs over these next few years?
I think they're making the playoffs next year.
Okay. In that division, because we're going back to the old divisions.
I realize that, and I still think it's going to be Tampa,
Boston, Toronto.
Tampa, Toronto, Montreal, Boston.
Okay.
But not necessarily in that order, but those 4 teams will make the playoffs.
All right.
Maybe Florida, but we'll see.
Any other final thoughts on the finals before we move on to something else? We talked about this on Left Side Heavy.
We
at
did.
Least I did, about how I thought it was a boring finals.
It was kind of boring. It wasn't long enough. It wasn't.
Well, we kind of knew how this was going to play out. We kind of knew, no offense to Montreal. The fact that they even got there and beat Vegas was remarkable.
It was huge, yeah.
But I thought it was a boring series, and the best part of the series was Kucherov's interview. I thought that was just the most entertaining, and, now it's created conflict for next season between the two teams. And
that's what, every time you have a Stanley Cup final, you're going to get that anyways. But to your point about Kucherov, and I think I talked to this on Left Side Heavy as well. There's always 2 ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Some people thought of it, this was hilarious, and this was, great content, and it's a guy speaking his piece. Shameless plug. And it's showing his personality. And Kucherov's a pretty quiet guy for the most part, but that shows you his flashes of his personality, and I think it's great. Other people were like, no, this guy's a horrible example. He's drinking a beer. He's, not saying a good example, but it's like, how are you going to market players that have no personality?
Can I just say, in any other sport, if you're the champion, you get to say whatever you want.
Pretty much, yeah.
Within reason. You get to say whatever you want. And Kucherov was saying whatever he wanted because he's a champion. So I don't have an issue with it.
Neither do I. And I also, people had an issue with the comments about Montreal. I don't want to go back to Montreal. But that's not necessarily what he doesn't truly think. That's a mindset. It's like, oh, we want to finish this game now. We don't want to make this go any longer.
Well, and I think the other thing too is that most people recognize that Montreal are some of the best fans and one of the greatest hockey cities in the world.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So I don't think it's really like, don't get your panties in a twist because Kucherov. Like, there are a lot of other people who will defend Montreal, so don't be totally upset when Nikita Kucherov says that.
I want to cut that part out. But...
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Should we move on to...
Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Duncan Keith.
Duncan Keith
is now an Edmonton Oiler.
What was the trade? It was...
So, Duncan Keith and some prospect, a bag of pucks, we're going to say, to the Edmonton Oilers for Caleb Jones.
And a third-round pick.
And a third-round pick that's a conditional pick. It could be a fourth, but it is a third,
It's a third right now, okay.
It's a third right now.
Okay.
So that trade happened on Monday. We kind of knew it was going to happen. We had an idea because Keith wanted to play in Western Canada or Pacific Northwest. That's what he talked about. So the two options that really made sense were Seattle and Edmonton. Seattle was out pretty quick. Edmonton's like, well, okay, I guess we have to trade for this guy. How do you feel a few days afterwards? Not your immediate thoughts, but how do you feel just a few days after the trade about Keith becoming an Oiler?
Edmonton won the trade. Without a doubt. Even, give up Jones and a third-round pick, Edmonton still wins the trade.
Edmonton wins the trade?
100%. 100%. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I have a few thoughts why. So,
is this your dad who's... Nope. No, this is just you.
This is me.
Okay.
This is me. My dad is an Oilers fan, yes.
My dad is an Oilers fan too, and he has completely different...
Interesting. Okay, so let me tell you why I think the Oilers won this trade.
Okay.
Jones is young. He's a young guy. He's got room to grow. And the Oilers don't need that. The Oilers need a veteran, steady presence on the backhand. And assume if Barry resigns in Edmonton, think about the top six. You got Barry and Nurse as your 1-2. We'll just say Clefbaum and Larson for example. For purposes. And then you've got Bear and Keith as your third pairing. Keith's only going to play 50 minutes a game. In reality. Yes, he's old, but he's there to be a veteran to steady presence. He's still a good player. He was playing 25 minutes in Chicago?
He was a replacement level player. So so pretty much he hasn't been good analytically. He hasn't been good for the last 3 years.
But here's the thing: is that he brings so many intangibles, and he's won 3 cups, and he brings a wealth of experience that he can take into guys like Bear, Bouchard, Broberg, Nurse, even like just get him, that experience and get them getting him in the game, because the Oilers haven't had a veteran, a good, like Chris Russell, veteran, but he wasn't ever that good. He wasn't Duncan Keith good.
No.
And Keith brings that level of, even if Keith just plays like replacement minute, like he's a depth defenseman essentially. Even if he's just that for, whatever, he only plays 30, 40 games, like he's still a huge asset for that team, and he's going to provide such valuable veteran experience to that team.
The Oilers lost this trade.
You think so?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Because Keith is making plus $5 million each year for the next 2 years. Okay. He's been a replacement level player. His stats have not been great. Now, granted, he shouldn't be playing the 20, 25 minutes that he's been playing in Chicago. Okay. He should be playing 16, 17?
Maximum 18 minutes.
Maximum 18 minutes a game, and I'm totally cool with that. Like, if that's his role, that's totally fine. I don't have an issue with that. I think that's what Keith should be doing anyways. It's just the fact that you're taking on $5 million plus in a flat cap, and you're giving up assets to do this for a replacement level player, statistically,
doesn't look good.
That's not good, and that's a total Ken Holland trade, because that's what fucked up the Red Wings when he was last there, was making stupid trades like that. Now, I think if you're the Blackhawks, you made out okay, because now you're going to try and go get Seth Jones. If you're,
Oh, absolutely.
If you're the Blackhawks, you got Caleb Jones. Now you're gonna go get Seth Jones.
Go get Seth Jones.
Like
yeah.
that's the move if you're Chicago. If you're Edmonton, you lost this trade purely on salary cap.
But didn't Chicago retain some salary?
No, Chicago did not retain anything.
Oh, I thought they did.
No, they didn't retain anything. Like, that's what makes this trade worse, is that there's no retention of salary. Edmonton gave up assets. Now, granted, Jones might have been on the way out anyways, considering what has transpired in Edmonton the last
I think
years.
part of it's also a Seattle Kraken influence, because Jones likely was going.
Yeah,
So
Jones.
at least the Oilers got something out of it.
I guess so. I just think this is a bad move, and they're going to regret it.
Fair enough.
I hope I'm proven wrong if the Oilers go on a massive run here and they go win a cup with Keith, and they're going to point to that. Well, look at that Duncan Keith trade. That trade worked out. And you know what? It might. It absolutely might. But I don't like this trade for Edmonton. My dad thinks they're going to re-sign Keith next year anyways to a long-term deal and just fucking be gone with it.
Did your dad say that when he was angry after hearing the trade?
No, he said that before he was even traded.
Oh,
he said that when the rumors were happening, that not only are they going to trade for Keith, but they're going to sign him to an extension.
Huh. That's funny.
Because that's just how little hope he has in Ken Holland and the Oilers.
Right. As a few people do, I'm sure.
Again, so for Chicago's perspective, they're not going to go target Seth Jones. You would think is the move for them, considering they got Caleb Jones.
I think they might get him too.
They're talking about Jones or Dougie Hamilton.
Ooh.
Jones is probably not the safer play, but maybe the more affordable play.
I think Hamilton's a better defenseman.
I think Hamilton is too, but I think if you're going to go get Seth Jones, you got the space. Now you got his brother. You kind of obligated.
True.
Any other thoughts on the Keith trade to Edmonton? No. I hope he does well. I hope he gets to see his son more in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Like being in Edmonton.
True.
I don't know if I was talking to you about this, where people were saying that Keith lives in Penticton, but I know that he had a house in Naramata. So I didn't want to be that asshole. For those who don't know, Naramata isn't it's
northeast of
it's north.
Penticton.
It's on the other side of the lake, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I didn't want to be that asshole who said, well, he actually is in Naramata, not Penticton. But Ryan Suter, Zach Parise bought out by the Minnesota Wild.
Shocking.
Wild. That's wild,
that
man.
Is a wild move. Yeah. That, I think, people have been talking, now Eichel's going to Minnesota, and that's been a big part of that, because didn't Suter and Parise had massive contracts,
13-year, $98 million deal.
Yeah, something like that.
Together.
That's insane. I know. I couldn't believe they signed it in the first place together, but I think this opens the door for the Wild to get Eichel.
I think so. Here's the thing. I get the Parise buyout. Parise has kind of, he's nosedived a little bit as a forward.
Yeah.
Ryan Suter, though, I thought was still putting up
he still munches minutes like nobody else.
Yeah, he was kind of like Keith in that he was having a talk with a lot of salary, with a big role.
Yeah.
Again, probably not the guy that he used to be, defensive wise, but I mean, he's still doing 25 minutes a night.
Still pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised that they bought him out.
Yeah, true. That's very true, actually. Yeah, I can't believe the Suter one doesn't make sense, but I think it's also them moving in a different direction.
Probably.
And again, they got to make a change somehow, and Suter Parise have been a big part of that team for, now 8 or 9 years at this point, and I think it's just time for a change. And the Wild are getting younger. Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek are coming in. Broding's not young, but
the Eriksson Ek contract I like. That's a nice deal for them.
Eriksson Ek's gonna be a great player. He's gonna be like a Couturier.
That's the guy you signed to an 8-year deal, and not Ryan Nugent fucking Hopkins.
Well, that's a whole nother.
I can't hate on Nuge because he's a Burnaby boy, and I'm in Burnaby. But I mean, Nuge is 30 and Eriksson Ek is 24.
24. Yeah. Yeah, it's not great, but again, you got to think about what happened with Nuge. Is that he is one of the Oilers' best forwards. I'd say top 4 in that forward group. McDavid, Draisaitl,
Yamamoto.
Then Nuge, I would say.
Okay. Back to Minnesota. So we're rooting for Minnesota to get Eichel, a Kaprizov, Eichel.
I'm rooting for Anaheim to get Eichel, but that's just me. I'm not sure how Anaheim's going to get how it's going to work, and I know Bob Murray is not going to give up Seegers or Drysdale.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Good luck. I don't see that.
We're not going to get Eichel. Yeah, exactly. So we're likely not getting Eichel because of that. So
I don't know if they can hear the car alarm that just went off.
They probably can. As soon as I start talking about the Ducks, that's what happens. Of course.
Stop talking about the Ducks. Stop. That's your cue. Stop talking about the Ducks. Yeah, we'll see about Eichel. I think personally, I'm rooting for an Eichel Kaprizov 1-2 in Minnesota. I think that'll be really good. I don't know how Minnesota gets Eichel or what they give up to get him, but that'll be really interesting. So we talked about Minnesota a little bit. Should we talk about Pierre McGuire going to Ottawa?
No, so not gonna lie, when I first heard this, I thought it was a meme. I thought it was not gonna lie, I actually thought it was a joke. I was like, bro.
So,
no way.
So Pierre McGuire, I want to see if I can find his official title.
Director of Player Personnel.
Is that some bullshit title that he's getting?
I think so.
It doesn't say here, but he's currently serving as Senior Vice President of Player Development for the Ottawa Senators.
Sounds like a lot of big words.
Yeah, that seems like we want you here, but we don't really have it. Like,
he's just like a consultant at this point.
Well, the thing that really matters, it's not really like what your title is. Like, what are you actually doing? Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis when you're with the Senators? And that's what I'm curious about with Pierre McGuire.
What he's going to do, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he also does a lot, like, working with NBC, or he used to.
Yeah, NBC. that was kind of, I think, how this all played out, was the fact that NBC is going to be no more after this season. NHL and NBC, I should say. So, because they're going to ESPN and Turner, so this opportunity kind of came up because Pierre McGuire's not going to ESPN or Turner. Can I just say that I am not a fan of the move, purely because I thought the Ottawa Senators were one of the best teams in the second half of the NHL last year. Like, they had some real momentum. They were, getting better. Murray started to put it all together. The team was looking all right. And then, when you're starting to get some momentum and things are starting to look good, now you're just throwing Pierre McGuire into the mix. And it's just like, I don't get it. Like,
yeah, that's a very,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this year was like, things were looking okay. The Senators were all right.
Yeah. And the thing with the Senators just need time. They just need time to let their kids develop and let guys like Bernard Docker get in there, let Brandstrom get more minutes, let Stützle play a lot more than he is. But yeah, and that's just it. It's very these cars are going nuts out here, I gotta say.
Now we're talking about Ottawa, and now that's your cue, I think.
That's my cue to stop talking about the Sens. But yeah, Pierre McGuire, I thought it was a joke to start, and I kind of hope it still is, but it's not. So I guess good for Pierre, but weird. I'm just gonna say weird. It's a weird signing.
The Sens are gonna have a worse record next season?
No, they'll be better. I think that they won't be in last place. Buffalo will be, but
I don't know. I just don't get it.
Fair enough.
Not my cup of tea. Of course, the Ottawa Senators would do this too. By the way, that's such a Sens move to bring in Pierre McGuire.
It is. It really is. Yeah. Maybe friends with Melnick.
Probably. Or then Melnick's just like, yo, this guy's got experience, and it's just like, we don't need it. Like, we're doing fine. Why would you do this? Pekka Rinne retired this past week from Nashville Predators. He played, what draft class was he? He wasn't 03, was
01.
He? Was he 01?
I think 01 or 02, yeah. Okay. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
You never heard of him for a long time, and then he had his one breakout year, early 2010s, and he's just been a brick wall for the Predators ever since. And
he was, I was gonna say, he was a big part of their 2010 run when they got to the second round, the Predators.
Yeah.
And was a
and 17 when they went to the final. The other year too. That was really big. And Rinne, great career. What a goalie. What a player.
He was one of the he was one of the best goalies in like that 2010s where you had a bunch of star goal, like obviously you had Luongo, you had Jonathan Quick, Corey Crawford, Rene, Marc-Andre Fleury, Henrik Lundqvist, Carey Price, like a whole bunch of goalies in this era. And Rene, I think, is up there with those guys.
100%. Oh, yeah.
His team was never as good as any of those guys, but I kind of feel bad a little. I mean, they had the chance to go to the finals, but they weren't beating Pittsburgh that year.
They could have. I mean, let's not forget Johansson, their top center, was hurt.
Yeah,
which didn't help that year. But no, like all things considered, Rene had a great career, and that was one of his better performances. That 2017 playoff, he was electric, and he basically stopped everything the Ducks shot at him in the third round.
I was gonna say, do you have like a Rene moment?
Goalie scored.
Goalie goal?
The goalie goal, 2019. I think it was,
Okay.
That was the one that sticks out to me. Yeah, great. Oh,
I didn't
absolutely ripped it.
I didn't know if you had any like Anaheim, Rene.
No.
Not a lot of good memories from that one.
Well, not even that. No, the Predators deserved to win that series. They were the better team, and
they had a lot of momentum that year too.
Did they ever?
And I think also
did they ever?
Part of it was just Anaheim. That's what you could tell. Anaheim was getting a bit old and like
Not even that. No, I think it's the thing that was really surprising to me is that the Predators beat the Hawks in 4 games that year.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that was like that sent shockwaves around the league. Like, what the fuck just happened?
That's when you knew like it was.
They were for real. Yeah.
They were for real.
Oh yeah.
So
good for Rene.
Congratulations to Pekka Rinne. The Nashville Predators now, I'm guessing, are going to be led by UC Saros and
Yaroslav Askarov.
Hopefully next year. We're guessing that's going to be the goalie tandem in Nashville.
Yep.
Any other NHL news? Anything else? Landeskog might be out the door.
We'll talk about that later. We'll see what happens.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. Zach Hyman possibly out the door as well with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Landeskog for Hyman switch? ?
I don't know if anybody can afford that. Do you want to talk about baseball?
For a bit, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about baseball here because I want to do this part. So we had the MLB draft this week in which nobody we knew were drafted, no players we knew. Celebrity game, your boy Quavo struck out my boy DK Metcalf. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, yes.
And then he gave up a double to JoJo Siwa, whatever her name is.
Okay.
Then very next at bat. So Quavo's like a hit and miss pitcher,
Quavo's missing hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso won the home run derby.
Again, back to back.
Back to back. Did you watch the home run derby?
Parts of it.
I was watching that home run derby, and I'm not gonna lie, when Ohtani got eliminated, the
energy in the crowd was kind of gone.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the same when Ohtani was eliminated.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a great battle with him and Soto.
Oh, was it ever?
That was awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was funny. All the lower seeds won.
Yeah.
In the first round, which was interesting. And yeah, I love the home run derby's great, but I think it's lost its luster a bit for me.
We're gonna talk about that later on. It's one of the mailbag questions.
It is
about All-Star Weekend.
Okay.
But Pete Alonso back to back.
Yeah.
Best power hitter in the game, I guess right now.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
I can't.
I would say, and we're gonna get into him pretty quickly here.
Yeah. So Pete Alonso wins the home run derby. The AL won the All-Star game.
Yeah. Backed by a lot of Blue Jays. The Blue Jays were hella contributors.
Vladdy, Bo, Marcus Semien was on the team.
Yeah, and Teoscar
Hernandez. Any thoughts on the All-Star game or just your Blue Jays?
My Blue Jays were fucking sick. Let me tell you that. Guerrero won the MVP. The All-Star game MVP. To nobody's surprise, he had a home run.
He had that bomb.
Absolute cannon.
To left field.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I mean, Coors Field, so it's, a little... The numbers are a little bit buoyed, but...
It skews a little bit to the hitters.
A little bit, but still. Like, fact is, he still knocked out an All-Star game and put on a great Blue Jays performance. And it wasn't just him. Also, all the other guys contributed. It wasn't like, the guys didn't show up. Like, all the other players, all the Jays guys showed up, and they played great.
I can't remember what the stat was, if he was the youngest to hit a home run or the youngest to win MVP.
Youngest to win MVP, I think.
Youngest to win MVP since Johnny Bench, I think.
Wow, that's...
Where Johnny Bench, like in 1968 or 1969, did it as a 21-year-old.
21-year-old catcher. That's
21-year-old catcher.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And that's what Vladdy is. That's the expectation for Vladdy.
Oh yeah.
It's just MVPs, dingers. Any other quick baseball things before we? The Mariners need to go on a run here if they need to make the playoffs.
Same with the Blue Jays.
Same with the Blue Jays. I think the Mariners are just slightly ahead of the Blue Jays right now by like a game or two.
Yeah.
So I guess you're rooting for the Blue Jays. I'm rooting for the Mariners. We might have to go to Seattle. There's like a playoff between those two teams. We might have
be.
We might have to do
that.
There
might be, yeah.
Wild card standings. I'll just pull those up quickly if they want to show up. Seattle's 48 and 43.
Okay.
Toronto's 45 and 42. So Seattle's a game
close.
up on the Jays.
Okay.
As we enter the second half of the season. Little NBA talk, little basketball talk. Game 5 of the NBA Finals is Saturday night. Milwaukee came back in Game 4. That series is now tied at 2. We're going back to Phoenix. One of those stops in Phoenix. One of those bullshit stops in Phoenix, which is like an Arrested Development bit. Do we think this series is now... It's not Phoenix, like now Milwaukee's 1-2 straight. Phoenix 1-2 straight to start the series. Now Milwaukee is 1-2 straight at home. Is this just going to be win at home type series, I guess?
It might be. Yeah, I think Suns win Game 5. But I think pressure's on the Suns to perform. They got to do something here. Game 4, the Bucks did come all the way back, which was good. Game 3, the Bucks deserved to win. That was their game the whole way.
Yeah, they were in control from start to finish.
And the Bucks, they needed to do that. They needed to do something like that. And Game 4 was, it's made it an interesting series. After Game 2, I thought the Suns are going to win this in 4.
Suns in 4.
I was so confident the Suns were going to win in 4, but here we are, Game 5. It is tied 2-2. I'm still rooting for the Suns, but man, the Bucks have made it interesting.
Chris Paul did not look great in Game 4. He looked pretty old.
He's due for a bounce back.
Yeah, he's due. That's what I love saying that about like when I watch minor league baseball and some dude's hitting like 184, and then I just like, yeah, he's due.
He's due for a double. Yeah,
he's due for something. And then he just grounds out to shortstop. Devin Booker has looked really good throughout the whole postseason, but I thought he was electric in Game 4. He was the only one really scoring buckets consistently
for the Suns.
For any team, I thought.
Yeah, that's true. Booker's going to be a superstar if he's not already.
Yeah, this is kind of just one of those runs that is leading towards something greater, I think, for him.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just coming up already, without a doubt.
Suns in Game 5, that's who you're taking? You're taking Phoenix in Game 5?
Suns in 5, and I think, I don't know if they're going to... I think it'll be 7. It's hard to say.
I'm going to take the Suns in 6. I think the Suns...
You think they'll win it in Milwaukee?
I think they'll win it in Milwaukee. They should have won Game 4. They just did not close out well, and Milwaukee had better closeout from Giannis. Chris Middleton, I thought, had a good performance in Game 4. I don't think he'll have a good performance in Game 5. He might do well in 6, but... And Ayton's somebody that, as a center, the guy who's always been the big man when we play basketball, I appreciate and watch Ayton. Like, he knows his role. He knows what he's doing. He can score a basket for you here and there if you need him to. He's not the first guy you go to, and he's okay with that.
Ayton's a great player. I'd say this is his breakout performance in the playoff. Like, of his career. Like, this playoffs has been, like, he's coming up party, in a way.
So, you got Phoenix in 6. Phoenix in 6? Okay. Other basketball news. So, pretty much, Fuji and I, SYP creator Fuji and I, got some content coming out. NBA draft is July 29th.
Ooh, come on quick.
Free agency is August 2nd.
Okay.
The other basketball thing I wanted to bring up, the Americans lost to Nigeria and Australia in pre-Olympic exhibition game. They won against Argentina the other day.
Okay.
But they did lose to Nigeria and Australia. I don't know if you saw that.
I heard about that. Wow. It's very interesting with the international competitions, recently. You look at, Canada in the World Championship, this was in May, but they lost to, was it Kazakhstan or Latvia? I think it was
both. I think they lost to
both teams, and then they went and won a gold medal. It's very interesting how, depending on how many, how much teams and people get to play and get to practice, it's that little edge, especially with how COVID's kind of affected a lot of things. How there's varying levels of like experience and time and success. Yeah, exactly. Like teams, you'd expect the Americans to sweep. It's pre-tournament, yeah, but you'd expect them to sweep out and absolutely dominate. but they're just not doing that, and that's maybe because these other Nigeria, Australia, have been playing all year. They haven't had like breaks, or they haven't had like time off or restrictions, whatever it might be. So
Can I give you my galaxy brain hot take?
bring it.
The Olympic gold medal doesn't mean as much now
Why is that?
because everybody wants to win the NBA championship.
But you could say that about a lot of sports too. You could say that about hockey.
No, but I'm just thinking like from the NBA basketball culture.
Right.
NBA title means more than
a gold medal.
And these guys would rather win the NBA championship than win a gold medal. That's my galaxy brain hot take. I have no idea if there's any truth to that. I have no idea if that's true or not, but
Is that because some guys choose not to go play in the Olympics?
No, I think it's just more guys are focused on the NBA because now, like, you understand how much tampering is going on with all these guys in the same locker room, in the same hotel, within, like, Zach LaVine talking to Durant, who's also talking to Bradley Beal, who's also talking to Damian Lillard, who's also talking to Draymond Green, like, all this sort of stuff of, like, guys chatting about their NBA.
Dame's the Warriors.
I'm just saying.
If he goes to the Warriors, that would be, they would... that'd be unreal.
I'm just saying, it's my galaxy brain hot take about how the Olympic gold medal in basketball doesn't matter. These guys are more focused on NBA titles than Olympic gold medals.
Interesting.
I have no idea if there's any truth to that or anything to back.
Yeah.
But that's.
I would never think of that, but
there might be some truth to that.
Maybe.
Basketball. Anything else before we head out here with basketball?
You got stuff with Fuji, so
we got stuff with Fuji.
We'll save that for y'all.
Entertainment. Pop Smoke new album came out. What's the name of the album?
Faith.
We listened to all of it on the way between.
Pretty much all of it.
Pretty much all of it between my place in Burnaby to the ferries. Do you have a top song that you like the most?
That's the most. I have to listen to it a few more times.
You only listened to one. We only listened to one.
Television with Kanye is really good.
Okay.
Demeanor with Dua Lipa is also quite
that
good.
was good.
That's gonna be That's gonna be one of the best, like the most popular songs from the album.
I enjoyed listening to that.
That one was good. I also like What's Crackin' with Takeoff. It started out. I was like,
you kind of have to play that if you're the Seattle Kraken, don't you?
Oh, of course. You have
Is it spelled with the K or is it spelled with a C?
Just C.
Oh, okay.
What's cracking? Once Takeoff dropped his verse, I was like, man, it's like Takeoff kind of carried that song. Not gonna lie, a little bit. About a Million with 21 Savage actually is pretty good.
I'm not a big 21 Savage fan, but
fair enough. He's acquired. 8 Ball with Kid Cudi.
Okay.
It's okay. There's
Is there a song you didn't like?
Beat the Speakers, kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Who's in that one?
It's just him.
Oh, it's just him. Okay.
Just him. I will say, Genius was Pop Smoke, Lil TJ, and Sway Lee. Pop Smoke, Lil TJ, deadly combo.
Okay.
I'd put them up. I'd put those two up there with Drake and Future, and I'd put them up there with Travis Scott and Don Toliver.
Interesting. All right. Any other thoughts on the Pop Smoke album? I thought Demeanor was good. I enjoyed Demeanor.
Yeah.
Vince Staples' new album came out. Vince Staples.
Yes.
That's the name of the album.
Oh, it's named after himself.
Yes, pretty much. I like The Shining. I thought The Shining and Sundown Town I thought was good. Law of Averages is all right. MHM. That was a decent song as well. He doesn't have anything longer than 3 minutes in this album.
That's interesting.
It's like a quick, 10-song, no more than 3 minutes a song album.
Right.
Highly suggest you go take a listen if you got the opportunity.
It's a quick listen.
Quick listen. So that's the new Vince Staples album. You haven't listened to it yet, so you can't talk about that.
Not yet, no.
Any other music that we want to talk about or discuss before we head out with that?
No. I will say this summer there's been some great songs that have come out.
Yeah.
There's been some great albums, some great just singles. Yeah. Oh, Molly Crew, Post Malone. I'm not sure if people have been listening to it, but that one.
Is that your song of the summer?
Right now it is, yeah.
Okay.
That song absolutely bangs, yeah.
I think my song. I mean, I listen to it all the time, so I guess it's not a song of the summer. Night Train by Guns N' Roses. That shit rocks. Also, Netflix, because we talk about entertainment on the pod. We're talking about TV shows.
Yeah.
I think you should leave. Season 2 is out.
Okay.
Basically, it's a sketch comedy show. It's got 6 episodes, and they're like 15 minutes an episode.
Yeah,
And
that's quick.
And it's another quick series. I told you about Coffin Flops. I'll send you the link to Coffin
Yeah.
Flops. That rocks. The other sketch I like is called Calico Cut Jeans.
Oh God. Okay.
I'll show you that one too. If you got Netflix on your phone,
I do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
show you that one. I enjoyed season 2 of I Think You Should Leave. I don't know if you'd enjoy it as much as I would, but I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Any other shows you've been watching on?
Well, I'll say Outer Banks season 2 comes out July 30th. Ian's not a fan of that, but I know some people are. Comes out.
I saw that Love Island is on CBS. I didn't realize Love Island.
CBS.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't realize it was a network TV show. No wonder it stinks.
Yeah. No kidding. CBS too. Something about CBS shows. It's always. Are there any good CBS shows?
The Price is Right.
I'm thinking more primetime shows.
NCIS.
Okay. Well, that's been a long time running show.
Pretty much, yeah. And then basically I only just watch sports really, so I haven't been watching a whole lot of.
Yeah, you're big into the F1.
Yeah, man, we got a big race this weekend. Are you gonna watch with me on Sunday?
If we're not asleep, yeah.
Well, you gotta get up and watch it. It's at 7.
7? Fuck that.
If we go out on Saturday night, I might just pull the all-nighter and then just watch the F1 race.
We might be going out Saturday night. We'll see.
Mailbag questions.
Mailbag. Let's bring it.
All right. Let's. We got 3 mailbag questions for this pod. We'll start with Eliza J. Wills.
Okay,
Eliza
created a logos. They look sick.
Friend of the pod, Eliza, who asked, should they have brought on Beckham in reference to the Euro 2020 game between England and Italy? And I will just say they should have brought on Victoria Beckham for a little extra spice. A little extra.
Someone fancies Victoria Beckham.
Well, for the spice, because she's a spice girl.
Ah, yes, of course. Yeah, I got it. Anyways,
they should have brought on Victoria Beckham. No, should they have brought on Beckham? England might have been an improvement over Jordan Sancho. By the way, fuck anybody who said anything racist about those guys.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal. I have no respect for anyone that does that. These guys are elite athletes doing what they can on home soil for their country. They're not trying to put it right in the goalie's mitts, and it just happened. The Italian goalie won player of the tournament, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, like it's tough being on that stage, and I think Rashford and Sancho came in like at the 118th minute.
Yeah,
they haven't played a whole game. They're just like they're cold off the bench basically.
And then you're asked to take PKs.
In a Euro final. It's a lot to ask for, and these guys, those are young guys, and I think, unfortunately, they had to experience some racism, which they shouldn't have to. It's, like I said, bullshit. But now they have the experience. Now they're gonna know.
They're gonna go win the next Euro or World Cup.
I think they might win the World Cup.
But should they have brought on Beckham?
No, because David Beckham would have put it 20 feet high and right. But
fair enough. I can't argue with that. Keith R. Any hot takes of players being protected / exposed for the Kraken?
From what team? Does it
just in general?
Just in general?
Do you have like a one team or one player in mind that you think it's gonna be like? I don't know if there's gonna be like a whole lot of like. What you're gonna see, I would think, is a lot of like the big contract, but guys who don't like. I think I talked about Duchesne and Johansson are gonna be exposed. That's not really a hot take though. I don't think, because those guys just have big contracts, and if Nashville can get them off the books, great. Kerfoot's probably gonna be exposed.
I have a hot take actually. Yeah.
What's your hot take?
The Seattle Kraken. I think Carolina's gonna try sign Hamilton.
Yes.
But they're not going to. The Kraken are gonna take Hamilton, and the Carolina's gonna expose Brady Shea, but they're gonna still keep them, because the Kraken will take Hamilton and leave Shea, and Brady Shea will be exposed, but the Kraken won't take him. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the Hurricanes defensively, they're gonna protect. They're gonna do 7-3-1.
Sure.
They'll protect Slavin.
Sure.
They'll protect Pesci.
Sure.
And I think they have to protect Bean, because I think they have to.
Or I was gonna say the other guy they won't, but it's Gardner.
They won't protect her. They'll protect Bean, because they have to. Because
and then they have to leave Hamilton because he's a free agent.
Because he's a free agent.
Yes.
So the Kraken will sign Hamilton.
And that'll be their pick from
That's
Carolina.
their pick from Carolina.
Okay.
But Shea will still be exposed.
Yes.
That's my hot take there.
I'm trying to think if I have any really extreme hot takes about... I wrote about this earlier this week. They might take Dustin Brown.
Out of LA.
Out of LA. Which, here's the thing. He has 1 year left on a $5 million... Like, they might have to work in a trade or something. Yeah. But, I mean, there's actually, like, a couple of decent prospects I don't think LA wants to give up.
Right.
And they might take Brown and they might work in a side deal. That's kind of my really hot... Aiden Hill is another guy from Arizona who I feel like...
I think Aiden Hill is going to be one of the Kraken start or backup. Maybe he might be backup.
Otherwise, I don't see a whole lot of guys. And I can't remember who it was from Vancouver. Was it Grajovic? I think I had Seattle.
Grajovic or something.
Yeah, I had Seattle taking because they're not taking Eriksson, Beagle,
or
Holtby. Left side heavy. Jevin Lefebvre, left side heavy. Rank NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB All-Star weekends, all encompassing 1 through 4. So here, how I would do this is you got to go by two different things. Now you're combining it all together, but first you have to do like their fun thing, which is like their home run derby or their skills competition.
Yeah,
that whole thing.
Yep.
And then you actually have the All-Star game.
Right.
Because I think how it goes is the NBA. Like skills event is the best, like the dunk, the pass. I think that's the best one. That's the best one. Home run derby.
Okay.
I think NHL and then NFL.
Okay.
The NFL's tried to do new things for their skills event.
The NFL's hard because it's after the season, so no one cares.
Yeah.
Or it's like before the Super Bowl.
It's before the Super Bowl, and we're trying to watch out for player safety with football and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would probably put the NFL last.
Okay.
The NHL third.
Okay.
Home run derby second, and then NBA top for like the skills event for the fun thing they do.
Sure. Okay.
The actual All-Star game.
Yeah.
I think it's basketball.
Okay.
Hockey, football, baseball.
For the actual game?
Yeah, for the actual All-Star game.
Okay. I like that.
So I would probably put the actual weekends, I think I would rank basketball, baseball, hockey, football. Is how I would do the All-Star weekend.
I would flip NHL and MLB, and then I'm good.
So hockey is set. So for you, it's basketball.
NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL.
Okay.
Yep. That's my order. And I think a lot of the NBA, no doubt about it. The All-Star Saturday night is
the best thing right now for skills All-Star.
It's without a doubt, it's the best. I love the dunk contest. I've always tried to sit down and watch it, the whole thing in entirety, and it's often during reading breaks, so we actually have time to do it. But the NBA All-Star is great. The NHL, I'm a hockey guy, so I'm maybe a little biased here, but I love the 3-on-3, and the skills comp is awesome. It's fun going out after and trying to be able to do some of the stuff they do. It's hard. It's hard to hit a stationary target with a saucer pass. Trust me, that shit ain't easy.
So just to finalize, my ranking is NBA, MLB. No.
Yes, you said NBA,
MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL, and then you had NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL. Awesome. That's the Speak Your Piece podcast for July 16th. This will probably be out later on Friday, if not Saturday. Any other thoughts before we head out here for our SYP, not SFU, SYP Victoria Takeover? Any other thoughts, Scott, before we head out?
No, it's good boat pod. I think this is the first or second ever podcast done on a boat. So,
I think I did a boat pod many years ago.
Yeah,
but not this current version of the SYP podcast that's been on a boat.
The blog segment was called the Brady Gaga.
Yes.
At that point, which was.
We've gone through this is like the third different version I think of the podcast that we're on right now. The most successful one so far.
So far, yeah.
That's the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We will be back Tuesday. We got a weird schedule next week because we got expansion draft, entry draft, the Olympics start.
Yeah, it's a busy week.
We both are getting vaccinated. Get vaccinated. Get your vaccine if you haven't already. You're getting your second one on Wednesday, July 21. I'm getting my second one July 22nd on the Thursday. So get poked. Maybe Callum will poke you. Thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciate your time. We will be back again soon. Peace out.
Beauty.